Hi, welcome to episode number 2 of the Librarian's Reading Corner. I'm so excited that you decided to join me for episode number 2. So on my last video, I explained how you could use this book to teach different skills, and I would encourage parents to also use these pointers to talk with your kids about the books that they read. As a teacher, a lot of times parents would come to me and say, hey, how can I help my kid be a better reader? And I would say, well, number 1, get them to read books. Okay, that's going to be the big thing. Not necessarily reading for learning anything new, just read books. Number 2 thing that you can do is talk to them about what they read. So whenever I say this book can be good to teach theme or this book can be good to teach setting, talk to your kid about those things. What lessons can they learn from the book? How did the setting affect the plot of the book? All of those things are going to be things that you can do as a parent to help your kid become a better reader. Talking about today is called Jack versus the Tornado by Amanda Cleary Estep. And this series is a brand new series about the Tree Street kids. And of course, all of these kids, they live on streets that have tree names. And they develop a friendship. And so this is the start of that friendship in this series. Our main character is Jack. Jack has lived on his family's farm since he was born. His grandparents owned it, then his parents lived on it, and so he has grown up on this family farm in Illinois. However, the farm is just becoming too expensive to keep up. The grandpa is getting older, and the family decides that they're going to sell the farm and move to Chicago, move to the suburbs. This is a big change for Jack because this is the only life that he knows. So he devotes his life to helping his parents make money so that way he can help save the family farm. Little does he know that there is probably more going on in this than what meets the eye. But throughout his adventures of trying to earn money and help his family, he discovers some friends along the way and meets some new people, meets his neighbors, and he learns about friendship. As far as reading level goes, this is a chapter book. And so I would recommend this mostly for upper elementary, maybe 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. If you have a really high reading 2nd grader, they would enjoy this book too. It's a pretty easy read. As far as what you can use this book to teach with, I think it's a great book to talk about setting. Number 1, the setting of our book takes place in Tornado Alley. They explain a little bit of what Tornado Alley is, but I think it would be helpful if you maybe tied in some geography and talked about where Tornado Alley is, what states are involved in that, and how being in Tornado Alley affects the setting of our book. Also, I think another important opportunity is because the setting is 1995, which was almost 30 years ago. I know it's crazy to think that 1995 was almost 30 years ago, but because of that, there are lots of terminology and there's lots of things that you're gonna have to explain to your kids. You know, our main character, Jack, talks about the novelty of being able to answer a cordless phone from his driveway to talk to his dad versus at his farmhouse where he had to go inside in order to use the landline. And he also talks about how cordless phone the ringtone sounded differently whenever he was listening to it versus the corded ringtone of the phone in the house. Also, the mom talks about having to page the dad at work to let him know, to get a hold of him. They aren't going to know what a pager is. They aren't going to know what that is. And so also, as you're talking about setting and talking about how these details affect the plot of the story, talk to them about how would the setting change? How would the story change if the setting was maybe in Hawaii or maybe the setting was in New York? Also, you could talk about how if the year was 2023, how would that have affected our story? If you think Jack versus the Tornado sounds like a great book to read, click the link in the description so that way you can figure out how to purchase this book for yourself. I really enjoyed reading it and I think your students will too. This is another book that I plan on reading with my 3rd and 4th graders so that way hopefully they can get really interested in the series.